What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. In this episode of Awaken the V, we're going to talk about Stoicism. Now, there's been a huge decline in mental health around the world, which is quite concerning. But it's even more concerning when we consider that people are struggling with their mental health, but they don't even know that that is what they're redoing. They looking for advice online about how to deal with anxiety or depression or some other type of emotional suffering that they're experiencing. But they don't realize that that's what it is. One way that we can tell that someone is struggling with their mental health is if they constantly complaining. People who are emotionally healthy don't complain all the time. People who are emotionally healthy can experience negative emotions just like everybody else. But they don't let those negative emotions control them. So if you find yourself constantly complaining, or you find a partner who's constantly complaining, this could be a sign that they're struggling with their mental health. So I wanted to discuss 3 reasons why women stop complaining in their 20s. Number 1 is because they become more secure. There's a term called hypergamy, which is where a woman has an innate desire to upgrade her man. A lot of women go through a phase in their 20s where they're upgrading their man. So you might have a woman who dates a guy in her early 20s, but by the time she hits her late 20s, she's no longer with that guy. And a lot of men think that this is because they were ungood enough, or they were unattractive enough, or they didn't make enough money. But the reality is that most women will outgrow their partners simply because they want a man who has more status than the man that they are currently with. This is why you will see women who date broke artists or broke musicians or broke athletes who have big dreams. But then, as soon as that person actually becomes successful, the woman leaves him. The reason that this happens is because the woman isn't attracted to the man she's attracted to. The potential of the man, meaning that she sees something in him that she thinks is valuable, or she sees something that he has that she thinks is valuable. So she tries to help him reach his potential, so that he can become the thing that she thinks that he can become. But then as soon as he does become that thing, she no longer wants him. She wants something else. So women who are hypergamy are always looking for something more. They're always looking for a man who has more status, more money, more power, more influence, more notoriety. And a lot of times they won't even date a man who they feel is beneath them. So if you're a guy who's trying to date a woman who's in her 20s, you need to make sure that you not only attractive, and you need to make sure that you not only making enough money, but you also need to make sure that you have some type of status. Because a woman who's zicks in her 20s and a woman who's looking to settle down is probably not going to settle for just any man. She wants a man who represents a certain level of success. And the same thing applies to men. Men want women who represent a certain level of beauty. So it's important to understand that when you're dating, you're not only competing with other men, but you're also competing with the vision that that person has of what they want their life to be like. So if you're a guy who S in your 20s, and you're dating a woman who S also in her 20s, chances are that she's still trying to figure out who she is and what she wants to do with her life. So if you're a guy who's trying to date a woman in her 20s, you need to make sure that you're not only successful, but you also need to make sure that you're ambitious and that you have a clear vision of where you want to be in life, because a woman who's is in her 20s wants a man who can lead her into the future. She doesn't want a man who's stuck in the past or a man who's just coasting on his looks or his money. The second reason why women stop complaining in their 20s is because they become more secure. When women hit their 20s, they start to become more secure in their own sexuality. They start to explore their own sensuality, and they start to realize that they're sexual beings. This newfound sense of sexuality can make them feel more confident and more secure. In turn, this can make them less likely to complain or be needy. It's like they become more in touch with their feminine energy, and they realize that they are powerful and they don't need to rely on anyone else for their happiness. The third reason why women stop complaining in their 20s is because they become more secure in their own femininity. When women hit their 20s, they start to become more aware of their own femininity, and they start to embrace it. They realize that they are beautiful, and they realize that they are feminine, and they start to use that to their advantage. This newfound sense of femininity can make them more attractive to men, and it can also make them less likely to complain or be needy. It's like they become more in touch with their feminine energy, and they realize that they are powerful, and they don't need to rely on anyone else for their happiness. So if you're a man who's dating a woman in her 20s, you should keep these things in mind. Don't get frustrated if she stops complaining or being needy. It's not because she doesn't care about you. It's not because she's not attracted to you. It's because she is becoming more secure in herself. She's becoming more confident in herself, and she's becoming more comfortable in her own body. So if you're a man who's dating a woman in her 20s, don't get discouraged if she stops complaining or being needy. Instead, embrace it. Embrace the fact that she's becoming more feminine and more in touch with her own sensuality and sexuality. And embrace the fact that she is becoming more confident and more secure in herself, because that means that she's becoming more attracted to you. So that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Awaken the V. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. And if you're interested in taking my program, you can click the link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.